Okay, so James, last Friday against Bath, it was your first taste of derby action in a Gloucester shirt. Not the result we wanted, but there was still some positives to take out of the game, weren't there?
Yeah, I think we were bitterly disappointed with the performance, but it just shows again, it highlights the fact that even when we're up against it in those games, the grit and the determination and the effort from everybody in the squad means that we're still in the game throughout. We were very competitive, and we fought for everything that we could get, and we didn't do ourselves any favours in terms of our discipline and a lot of our work at set piece, but we were still in that game and still had opportunities.
I mean, there were two positive performances looking back at the Heineken Cup against Perpignan and then over in Munster, despite it being a defeat at Fenway Park. Obviously a step backwards slightly against Bath. Do you still feel that the team is in the right direction, is moving in the right direction at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's what makes last Friday so frustrating, is because coming off the back of two good performances to then not perform it makes it even worse. I mean, to be quite honest, even though we got a bonus point, that just annoys you, the performance into, and that's what we're focusing on, and not to do that last week is frustrating. But overall, we're working hard to make sure that we're still going in that right direction off the back of those two performances in the Heineken Cup.
Now, obviously, from a personal point of view, you missed the first few weeks with the petrol injury. You've now got a few games under your belt. How do you feel that you're coming up to speed? Do you feel you're operating at 100%?
Yeah, I do. I mean, up until last Friday, I felt very good. For whatever reason, as a pack we underperformed, and that's everybody across that. We didn't play as well as we can, but I felt that the couple of weeks preceding that, I felt like I was getting back into and starting to show what I'm capable of. But that's just means I've got to step it right up again this weekend and get back on that upward spiral.
And obviously you have a huge input into the operation of the line-out in particular, and even last Friday against Bath, the line-out looked pretty solid. It wasn't a bad evening from that perspective. And how happy are you with things on that front?
Yeah, I think we spend a great deal of time doing it, and that's not just myself but the other second rows as well with Stan, and I feel the way that we're moving forward with it. We're operating at a good level higher than last year, so that's a positive. But now it's just concentrating on the quality of the ball that we're producing. It was okay last Friday. There were a few scrappy bits and pieces there, but I want it to be perfect. So it's you want to make sure we're delivering the quality of ball all the time, whether that's drives or ball off the top. So that's the big focus now going forward. I think we've ironed out a few little issues in terms of actual ball winning, but then it's about what you produce.
Now, you had a taste of King's Own under the floodlights last time against Perpignan. It's going to be the same on Saturday evening. It's going to be Wasps under floodlights, probably buzzing atmosphere. How much are you looking forward to being back at home?
I can't wait. I think not just because of last Friday night, but you're desperate to put those things right as quickly as possible. So I think the game can't come soon enough, to be honest. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Now, obviously, one of the things that the media in particular focused on after last week's game was discipline. I know it's not something you can actively sort of work upon on the training field, but how much talking have you done about it this week in training?
We have spoken about it. In terms of the coaches' feedback to us as players, there were two or three things which underpinned last week's performance, and primarily our discipline was the underlying factor, because it just gives you away so much field position, and especially if you back a penalty up with another one, you just get marched back. You can be 60 or 70 metres away from your start point at that if you do that. So it's not, it's just a bit of common sense, to be honest with you. At times it wasn't so much around contact areas. It's just being a bit clever, a bit brighter at times around certain areas, and and again at scrum time we've got to make sure that we're working well there to not give away penalties there.
But the beauty of rugby is if something hasn't gone so well one week, you get another game a week later to put things straight. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I mean. It can't come soon enough now. I think we all just desperately want to get out there and perform.